Hey everybody, it's Alan Brockstein coming to you from Houston, Texas, and New Cannabis Ventures in the near future from 420 Investor, which I used to run at Benzinga. I've left Benzinga officially at the end of the year, and I'm moving to Seeking Alpha, where I've been since 2007 publishing articles, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'll let you know about that soon. But mid-May is when I think I'm going to go live with that service. And I'm getting prepared right now. And I'm writing frequently at Seeking Alpha on cannabis stocks, and both positive and negative. This week, there was no big news for the cannabis sector. And I want to review what happened with my focus list, which is 30 names now. Last week it was 31 going into the week. I removed Aurora Cannabis. It's just not worth following, in my opinion. So of the 30 stocks that I'm paying most attention to, I follow a lot more, but the ones I pay the most attention to, Ascend opened its third Massachusetts store. Ayr, doing what a lot of cannabis companies have been doing, paired its exposure in Arizona, just like Curaleaf paired its exposure in California, Oregon, in Colorado. And they also, it wasn't a big part of the news, but they also expanded their options in Ohio. Columbia Care announced that they opened for adult use in Missouri, which they just voted to legalize. I've never seen it move that fast. They had medical though. And, if you recall, the first state to go adult use was Colorado back in, it started at the beginning of 2014. I remember it well. I was there shortly thereafter. And I've been back to Colorado many times. And that was voted on in November of 2012. And it wasn't until January 1st, 2014, so it was over a year. And we saw Washington come even later. And Missouri, though, moved forward after voting in this November. Canopy Growth was the big cannabis news of the week. Not market-related news, it was company-specific, but it was a disaster. And the company, I can't believe this, but they're cutting their Smiths Falls. Like, goodbye, Bruce Linton. That was his deal. And I used to be really great friends with Bruce Linton. I'm not friends with him now, but I'm out of touch with him. And do I miss him from Canopy Growth? Well, no, not really. I started not liking Canopy Growth while he was still there. But they fired him, and they brought in, I was going to say the clowns. I don't want to call them that, but the clowns from Constellation, who've really botched it. And I wrote an article at Seeking Alpha with a price prediction of $1.36 a year from now on Canopy Growth in the US, $1.36. It's a quadruple bottom now near $2. It's terrible. So they're cutting back as well. Cresco opened its 11th Pennsylvania dispensary, and if you read my article that I published in Seeking Alpha recently, you know why I don't recommend purchasing Cresco. Do I have anything against Cresco? No, but Columbia Care is better for a lot of reasons, but mainly it's huge discount. So even if that deal goes through at a lower price, it's still a big win. And even if the deal doesn't go through, I think it's still a win. All right, Green Lane. Their big news this week wasn't really a press release, but their big news was they filed a preliminary prospectus to sell stock with warrants again. And remember, it crushed it the last time. So of course that put pressure on the stock this week. But they did put out a press release talking about their growth efforts. Planet 13, I don't think this is big news at all, but they used to be just Nevada. Then they expanded into California, and they did an acquisition there. And then they bought in Florida the old Harvest facility, or not facility, the license, and they are planning to open stores. But this week they announced kind of old news that it was old news that they had an option to acquire from the minority, no pun intended, but the minority partner in Illinois. That's how they got the license, by partnering with a minority. And they are exercising that option. So they'll own 100% of that dispensary that they're putting in Waukegan. I've been to Waukegan. I know exactly where Waukegan is. I went to Northwestern University in Chicago, and I knew Wisconsin well. And Waukegan is right up by Wisconsin. Now, I think it could be a great location if Wisconsin doesn't legalize, and there's no sign that Wisconsin's going to legalize soon. Anyway, I don't think it's important right now. That one, it's just a dispensary. And then the last one is Verano. They opened another Florida dispensary. They're 64th, I think. Yeah. So that was the news on what I call the focus list. The market last week was terrible. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. I moved my model portfolio. It has a 20% maximum cash. And a week ago, I think I was at 19%. So yeah, I saw something coming. And I've talked about this before. And just read my New Cannabis Ventures newsletter. We are unlike other people that cover the stock industry. We say bad things when we need to. We don't like to, but when we need to, we do, and we don't mind. We are advertiser paid, and we hope it doesn't turn off our advertisers for being truthful with our readers. But we've explained what our problems are with the cannabis market. And I'm very bullish longer term, but we shot up early this year, and I took a lot of profits. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But this week, the Global Cannabis Stock Index plunged. It was down 8.6%, and the S&P 500 was down 1.1%. I mean, that was a big difference, I think, anyway. So year to date, we are up 4.3% now. And the S&P 500 is up 6.5%. So we're lagging the S&P 500. And over time, I think we're going to do better than the S&P 500. But you have to pace yourself, I think. And we got off to a great start this year. And you can read my pieces in New Cannabis Ventures to see what my concerns have been. So I have two model portfolios that I launched on at year end. And one of them is called Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index, which is supposed to beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index. And the other one's called Beat the American Cannabis Operators Index, which is supposed to beat that index. And also MSOS. I've been pretty critical of the ETF MSOS. It's very poorly structured. And I'm going to just leave it at that. It's down year to date. The cannabis market's up. Alan's model portfolio that's designed to beat the American Cannabis Operators Index is up, and my Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index is up over 20%. It's actually over 21%. That's a little bit higher than 4.3%, just a little. So if you are wasting your time with MSOS and you think that's the way to play, good luck to you. That's all I'll say. It's not always stupid to do what MSOS is doing, but I think right now it's really stupid to be invested 78% in the 5 largest MSOs. That's stupid, I think, especially right now. So the beat, and you can read the piece that I link in the summary to this video, and you can read to see exactly what I did during the week. I'm a pretty active trader in my model portfolios, and I ended up, this is news because it's not written anywhere, but I ended up at only 2%. So I invested a lot this week, and I bought back things I had sold at much higher prices, and beat the American Cannabis Operators Index. Was up 2.1% this week, and it's now up 11.6%, which is a little bit behind the index, but way better than MSOS, which is down 3.9%. Allen up 11.6, MSOS down 3.9. So the other thing I like to do on this video is to talk about the calendar, and we're really not busy. We had a big week for earnings reports with Aurora and Canopy, and Aleafia was supposed to go this week. They pushed it early in the week to this coming week, and so Monday is their call, and then CBD, and that's pre-market, and then CBDMD is after hours. And then on Tuesday, it used to be called Canaccord Genuity. It's now called CG, I think. And they're hosting a call on Valentine's Day with a stock that people love, so it's well timed. They don't love it now. I do, but Trulieve. And Trulieve has pulled back all the way to its I don't know if it's the all-time low, it might be, but to its March of 2020 low, which remember we crashed when the pandemic hit. And the S&P 500 is still up a ton from that point. It crashed a little bit too, but it recovered and kept recovering, whereas the cannabis market, you can find stocks that are at, you can find stocks that are below their March 20 lows, and some that are still above. But anyway, they're hosting a conference call on Zoom that day. So that's it. Y'all have a great week. Take care.